We are continuing to learn more about the indictment of former President Donald Trump related to allegations that he tried to overturn the 2020 election. We've been telling you how this case in D.C. has really been in limbo ever since the Supreme Court's historic ruling on presidential immunity. Well, now special counsel Jack Smith has revised the charges to go along with the High Court's rulings. And here are 3 things that you need to know about this. First, while the indictment and the allegations are mostly the same, one of the changes is the removal of former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark, who was previously identified as a co-conspirator. The Supreme Court had ruled that conversation between the president and his officials could be considered immune. A second, to further show how strong his case is, Jack Smith put forth this new indictment towards a completely different grand jury here in D.C. And lastly, even though a different grand jury oversaw this indictment, Judge Tanya Chutkin will still be overseeing this case. Additionally, we're getting newly released footage from January 6th and the days after of then Speaker Nancy Pelosi responding to the attack on the Capitol. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
Less than 10 weeks before Election Day, former President Donald Trump faces a revised federal indictment, charging he engaged in a conspiracy to hold on to power and to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Special counsel Jack Smith filed the slimmed-down indictment to comply with the Supreme Court's July ruling that presidents have broad immunity for official acts. The new indictment removes the previous allegations concerning Trump's attempts to pressure the Justice Department into supporting his false claims that the election was rigged.
Now, the allegations relate solely to the actions former President Trump took as a candidate, in other words, in his personal capacity.
Trump has long claimed he did nothing wrong.
This is a persecution of a political opponent.
In social media posts, the former president responded to the revised indictment, accusing Smith of attempting to interfere with the November election. A day after the indictment comes never-before-released documentary footage from January 6th and the days after.
Patrolling the National Guard. Now, been here to start out.
Some was recorded as then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was being evacuated from the Capitol. The footage was turned over to Congress by HBO and obtained by CBS News. It also includes Pelosi calling Trump a domestic enemy in the White House during a meeting with her staff. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Now, Trump isn't Donald Trump's only legal trouble that he's having to deal with recently. We told you the Justice Department recently asked federal appeals courts to reinstate the classified documents case against the former president. Now, the Trump-appointed judge overseeing the case in Florida threw out that case, saying Jack Smith was unlawfully appointed by the Attorney General. Trump was charged last summer with mishandling sensitive government documents taken from the White House at the end of his presidency, as well as obstruction. A 3-judge panel will review the federal judge's dismissal of those charges.